Hey, Tom Rabbit! I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit!
Okay, super. Hello, Blue. Are you okay?
Hello. Yes,
So do you have a?
I'm an atheist.
Okay, nice to meet you. So, you're an atheist. Why don't you believe in God?
Because there's no proof.
There's no proof for God. So, if I was to
Yeah.
offer you, what kind of things would you consider as proof?
Let's see. Probably some evidence that, the things in the Bible, like the miracles that happened, anything like that can't be
Or
explained
do
in
you
any
think that
other way.
there's proof that the material world exists around you? Have you got proof for that?
Not necessarily. I mean, the thing is, like, Darth Dawkins earlier was talking about science and how science hasn't proved things, but science has never proved anything. Science is not for proving
No.
things.
That's one of our go-to catchphrases is that, science deals in approximations and estimations. It doesn't deal in proofs,
Yeah,
you know.
just like, so you shouldn't necessarily believe in gravity. Gravity doesn't necessarily exist because, mass attracts mass or something. You can't necessarily
Okay.
say that that's true,
Well,
but that doesn't.
we can say that God has revealed the world around us in a way that we can come to know it, right? And
Well,
so
that's a
through
stretch of a that's a
no,
stretch.
because
You're-
we're coming from a Christian perspective, okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
If you're
all right,
not
hold on. Yeah,
sound
if
hello, Doth, sorry.
yeah, I'm back. When you say it's a stretch, if I say that facts are facts because they start in the mind of God, and that's the only way they could be facts, right? And you say that's a stretch, then you're making a counterclaim that facts can be invoked as actual and intelligible without reference to God. What would be your reference point in order for facts to be facts then?
I don't necessarily have one, but I don't need one either.
Yes, you do. Okay, let
I
me tell you
do.
why. Yeah, okay. If you're going to make statements that contain propositions, propositions need context for their actuality and intelligibility, and without which they won't mean anything. Imagine I called 911 and I said, I want to report a murder. I say, oh, okay. Where did this happen? I don't know. Well, who was murdered? I don't know. Well, who did this? I don't know. How do you know about it? I don't know. When did this happen? I don't know. At what point will the dispatcher think I'm crazy? Okay. You want to believe that you can have the actuality and intelligibility of facts without reference to God. So that means that either you have in mind that there's something else that is ultimate, the ground of existence, or that facts don't require any context at all. So which do you believe?
That they don't necessarily need context.
Good. Then give me a fact that doesn't need context.
Well, there aren't many. There aren't many facts.
Give me one.
There's a very few that I can actually state
Give
is
me
a
a
fact.
give me an intelligible fact. So in other words, you're saying that God does not exist, but
Yes.
that's a universal declaration. How could you know that?
Because you guys have the burden of proof. I can say that
Okay,
there's a
all right,
unicorn
okay.
in my
Blue,
backyard and it made flowers, and that's my
blue,
evidence for the fact that there are what?
blue, blue.
What?
The biggest problem I have in dealing with young atheists is they just simply regurgitate atheist cliches. Okay, so what you just said is a cliche, right? So you said
Sure.
there's no proof.
If you wanna insult my argument by saying it's a
That's
cliche,
I'm not insulting it. I'm
yes, you are.
evaluating it. I'm evaluating it. Okay. Now, when you say that there's no proof, right? And then you want to bring up unicorns, this is a common line of reasoning. We can say with good reasons that unicorns do not exist. Because if unicorns did exist, right, that we would have visual appropriation of the unicorns. And in the absence of it, we can conclude that unicorns do not exist.
Like
So
God.
we have good reasons to believe that unicorns do not exist. Do you have a good reason that there is no ultimate creator?
that there's the exact same reason that I don't believe in invisible unicorns. I don't believe in them because I don't see them.
See
They're
now,
not
so
here.
now,
There's
so
no
now,
proof of it. But
hold
you
on,
have the
hold on.
assertion that God is real because there's proof
You're
of
not focusing.
of what do you
You're
mean?
not. You're not focusing on what I'm saying to you. Okay. You have been, since you've become an atheist, you obviously have been absorbing certain atheist lines of reasoning. And I'm going to walk you through this step by step to show you why they're not coherent. When you're implying that theists have a burden of proof, whereas atheists do not. That is
Yes.
that's a fallacy.
No, it's not.
Okay. I will explain to you why it is.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. There is no neutral position toward God. It does not exist. It cannot exist. Either you will believe what is ultimate is a mind, or you will believe what is ultimate is not a mind. Okay? Now, if I were to say to you, everything that exists is evidence of God, would you ask me to defend that?
I would say that again, it's kind of a stretch.
Okay.
I'm not saying that
Okay. You're
your
not
defense,
focusing. I asked you a
your defense
specific
is the
question. You're
Bible.
not focusing. Okay.
I
I
know your
asked you,
defense.
I will repeat the question. If I asserted that everything is evidence of God, would you ask me to defend that?
No, because I can guess your defense.
No, you're not. Okay, listen.
Okay, then should I ask you right now?
We're
Do you
gonna
want me to ask you?
we're gonna try one more time. I'm trying to be patient and not being rude, but you're gonna have to up your game and give me adult like responses. You are not doing so. Now, if I told you, okay, that everything is evidence for God, would I have the burden of proof of defending that in your view?
Sure.
Okay. Now, if you, on the other hand, say nothing is indicative or evidence of God, the only difference between your statement and my statement is that you've added not.
Yeah.
Good. So then there is no neutral position. If if I tell you everything is evidence for God, I need to explain why. If you say that nothing is evidence for God, you need to explain why as well. So there is no shifting of the burden of proof. You have been duped by whatever atheist resources that you are absorbing, that atheism is a neutral position. It is not. Okay. The reason why atheist resources are teaching you and others this is because they want to insulate themselves from having to defend what they really believe and what atheism really means. You cannot be neutral toward God any more than you can be neutral about being dead or alive. You can be neutral about gold on Mars. You could be neutral about the existence of Bigfoot. Okay. But when it comes to God and some other things like being dead or alive, you can't be neutral. Okay. So nobody's neutral. So the point is this is your position is that you're an atheist, that there is no God. And you said, did you say there's no evidence for God?
Yes.
Okay. How did you determine that all facts simply exist independently and without derivation from God? Did you determine that?
What facts? What
Any
facts are you
fact,
talking about?
any facts.
Name a fact. Name a fact.
Your position is that nothing is evidence or indicative of God. So how did you determine that?
Because there are other explanations for most things, and I'm not saying that those things are
The fact
facts.
that okay, is your explanation okay, if there's another explanation, okay, then what is it that is ultimate, the source and ground of all existence that's not God? What is it?
You're asking the question as if there needs to be an answer for that question.
Well, there needs to be an answer to the question if you're going to exclude God.
There doesn't need to be an alternative.
Yeah, you are clearly not
What do you
focusing.
mean? You're
Listen,
asking
Blue,
for existence to
listen to me. I'm being very patient with you. You are clearly not focusing. All right.
I'm being patient.
Now,
I listened to what you said.
okay, Blue, listen
Existence.
carefully. Okay, Blue. Either it is the case that all facts derive from what is ultimate and a mind, or all facts derive from what is ultimate that is not a mind. Which is your
What?
position?
But you're not defining facts for me. Name a
Okay,
fact.
okay. A fact is something that is stipulated to be real or the case. Okay? Now,
Oh, can you name?
either
So
you
I think Not Fox
the
was asking me for facts earlier.
the Eiffel Tower stands in Paris. There you go. There's a fact.
Okay.
Now, either you believe that that fact and all other facts that you believe in ultimately derive and depend upon what is ultimate and a mind, God, or you believe that facts ultimately derive from that which is ultimate and not a mind. Which do you believe?
I'm not a mind.
Okay. Now, how did you determine what the ground of all existence is and that it's not a mind? How did you determine that?
Because there's no proof of a mind. We're going back to this.
You're not
Can I
understanding. Okay. Listen to me.
can I criticize are you
When
guys
you
all Christians?
listen to me carefully. Okay. We can get to that in a moment. When you say there's no proof of that, okay, you're going to have to defend that claim that all facts do not derive from God. Do you know what is ultimate and that it's not God?
Do I know what's there is no ultimate.
Okay, well now you jumped out of the frying pan into the fire. Okay, if nothing is ultimate, then there's no rhyme or reason why anything is.
Okay.
That will destroy your ability to speak intelligibly about anything, including saying the sky is blue.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what there are barely any what facts
You're
are there in the
you're
world?
not you're not understanding. Okay, if nothing is ultimate,
Nothing's
then there's
ultimate.
nothing. Listen carefully. Then there is no fundamental reason why anything is, can be, or cannot be.
And there doesn't
Now,
need to be.
yes, there does,
No,
because
there
without,
doesn't.
let me explain to you why it does. Okay? Then, if there's no fundamental foundational reason for any event or entity, then there cannot be any meaning or intelligibility to anything. If you say the dog is wagging its tail, okay, then the word dog and wag and tail become meaningless because there is no context that makes these things the case. There wouldn't be dogness, there wouldn't be waggingness. Okay. If there's nothing ultimate, okay, then there's nothing absolute imposing regularity that some things will remain the same. If nothing remains the same, okay, then you couldn't learn anything. If you can't learn anything, you couldn't reason. So, in order to reason, you must have the capacity to learn things. And you can only learn things if some things have identity over time. Okay? Now, there can only be identity over time if and only if something is imposing and securing that. Now, do
See,
you
but
believe?
you made that rule up. You just made that up.
Blue, listen carefully. One of the tactics of atheists, both young and old alike, is simply to be argumentative over anything. I have debated atheists for 10 years. Okay. I've debated PhD atheists. Okay. I know all of the tactics. Now, do you believe that you can reason in a world without God?
Um, I'm doing it right now.
Okay. Now, could you reason if you couldn't learn anything?
I mean, not necessarily because it'd be hard to
No, you
understand the other
wouldn't.
side.
No, you wouldn't be able to reason about anything unless you learned that something is the case. Okay?
Okay.
So reason depends upon learning. But you couldn't learn anything unless there is identity over time. Okay? That something retains its identity over time. It may change, but it still retains a certain aspect of its identity. I'm sure you agree that there's identity over time, right?
Well, like dog? Or are you saying
Do
like
you agree? Do you agree that some things retain its identity over time? Does the Eiffel Tower remain the Eiffel Tower from day to day?
only because we say it is?
No, 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 no. Okay,
Yes,
you're
yes,
not.
yes.
All right, listen.
What do you mean?
Okay,
Everything like a
okay,
dog, right? That's
blue. Listen
society.
to me.
We're saying
Blue,
that that's
listen
a
to me.
dog.
Blue,
Yes.
listen to me. I'm going to ask you an honest question, and I don't want a smart aleck response, okay? And I'm not saying this to put you down. Do you think by being argumentative, you're going to succeed?
You're calling me childish and using
Okay.
cliches.
Okay. Have
And
a nice day, Blue. Okay. So here, see, this is what these young atheists are inculcated in. They're not taught from their atheist resources to use critical thinking skills. They're just taught to be mentally defiant toward anything that they don't want to accept, just to simply be argumentative. And then when questions are put to them to show the non-coherence of what they're saying, they become argumentative and they scurry down semi-related rabbit trails. And so they argue over everything, and it brings the conversation to a complete stalemate, which is what they want. Okay? I was more than patient with her. Okay? AR, you're invited to speak.
1 hour later.
Yeah, if you've been on before and you've been removed, holding up your hand will do no good. You won't get on again. Okay? You blew your opportunity to come on. Blue Fanny Pack, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've been listening to this for a while, and I think that there's a fundamental issue with.
Wait a minute, did I have you on before?
Yeah, but I have some follow up. Or are you gonna cut me off?
All right, I'll give you another chance, but I will warn you, you better talk to me like an adult, otherwise you'll be removed quickly.
So a lot of the things that you're saying is that you believe that there needs to be a reason for everything.
Well, don't you?
No,
So you believe in arbitrariness?
if that's what you want to call it, sure.
Okay, good. Well, everything
So
you're
I
about
think
to say, everything that you're saying right now is hot garbage because there are rocks on the moon. There, we're done.
what do you mean it's garbage?
Well, I'm just being arbitrary. It's okay for you to be arbitrary. You just said so.
Just because I think that there's no reason for things doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to have opinions or thoughts on the world.
Okay.
I
Well,
can have beliefs.
there's no reason why you have beliefs.
That doesn't mean that I can't have them.
There's no reason that when you say you
Sure,
just
but
can't.
I'm okay with that. I don't feel the need for a
There's no
reason,
reason. There's no reason why you're okay with anything.
and that's fine.
There's no reason
I
why
think
things are
that's
fine.
why there's always going to be an issue with you talking to atheists, because I think that you just
It-
fundamentally disagree with the
do you-
fact that reason is
Do
not
you
necessary.
realize how convoluted what you just said is?
No.
You're fine that there's no reason for anything.
Yeah.
So therefore, what you believe in is that arbitrariness is unacceptable. That arbitrariness is acceptable. But you
Everything
see,
is
you don't
subjective.
listen, Blue. Okay, that's a contradiction in terms.
How?
If everything is subjective, then so is that statement.
Yes, I know that is my personal
Okay,
subjective
yeah,
outlook on the world.
you're not okay.
But you also said earlier that it's a
Okay,
fact
Blue,
that the Eiffel Tower is in Paris,
Blue, listen
and
to
that's
me
not a
carefully.
fact.
Blue, listen to me carefully. Okay.
What?
If everything is subjective, okay. If I say to you, I like ice cream, okay.
Yes.
In order to make a subjective statement, objectivity has to exist in some shape or form. Otherwise, even subjective statements are meaningless. So if I said to you, I like ice cream,
Sorry.
that is
So
an
sorry.
objective statement of what I subjectively like.
Yes.
If you say everything is subjective, that would include that statement. There would be no objective grounds to stipulate that anything at all was subjective. It is a self-refuting statement. Right?
Okay. So you think that the objectivity comes from God?
What is objectively true is whatever conforms to the mind of God.
Even when he changes the rules for us.
What does that even mean?
Well, I'm just saying, because I know that you're a Christian, right? From listening to what you're talking about, and God changes.
Hold on a second. Are
What?
you under the view that everything that God commands at a certain time and place is intrinsically good? or let me rephrase that. That there are certain things that God commands in certain periods of time to accomplish his purposes. It doesn't mean that a particular command or forbiddance always means that something is intrinsically bad. Sometimes it does mean that, but not always. Okay?
But doesn't that
So
mean it's subjective?
you're making the mistake. Let me give you an example. For example, God forbade the Jews to eat pork. Okay, that was a command.
Okay.
And if a Jew who was in a covenant relationship with God within the nation of Israel ate pork, it would be a sin because he has broken the covenant relationship with God. But that doesn't mean that somebody who is outside the covenant relationship by eating pork, that it is intrinsically evil.
So you're
Okay?
saying that God gives commands to people that aren't actually
There
objectively
are
wrong.
there are certain edicts or commands that God gives that reflect his eternal character and his general purposes in creation, okay? And other commands are a part of what God is accomplishing on a small and larger scale through the course of human history.
So we're puppets listening to the rules subjective to where we are, when we are, and
Well,
everything.
that is not the biblical view. If you read the
Well,
Bible,
that's
are
what
you
I mean. You're saying that,
okay? Can you
in
not
some
overtalk? Can
situations.
you not overtalk me, please? Now, are you familiar with the Bible?
I've read sections and
Okay,
majority of it.
if you're familiar with the Christian worldview, you could not walk away from that saying that the Christian worldview teaches that we're puppets. We are in a world by a sovereign God who has given us the capacity to make some choices. So we're not puppets. That does
But we
not
get punished for our choices.
That's right. We
So do we
will.
actually? We don't. I mean, so it's choices under the pretense of an
Okay.
all-knowing God.
You will be punished because of your refusal to repent and turn to God for salvation. That's why you will be punished.
So I have, in a way, I mean, my choice is being dictated by an underlining understanding that if I don't do what he wants me to do, I will be punished. That's
Okay.
not what I really think is choice.
Choice is
I think
a choice is the capacity to do otherwise. Okay, because if you can't do otherwise, it's not a choice. If I have a heart attack right now, I can't choose not to have a heart attack. Now, I could choose to go out for a walk, and I can choose to eat healthy, right? I could choose to engage in dangerous behavior that can make me prone to having a heart attack, right? But you have a misunderstanding of the Christian worldview. Okay. Now, what I want to know from you is this: if you object, are you objecting simply to the God of the Bible's purposes and plan, or are you objecting to the actuality and existence of God?
both.
Okay, so let's start with the bigger issue. On what grounds do you have that there is no God?
See, this is where I go back to I think I don't think that there's a reason for things, and I don't think there needs
Okay,
to be a
listen to
reason.
me. Okay, listen. Is it your position that God does not exist?
Yes, that's what I believe.
Okay. So then you believe that there is not anything ultimate dictating why anything is, can be, or cannot be. Now,
Yeah.
do you believe that?
Yeah, there doesn't need to be.
Okay, well then the word need is incoherent. Because in a world where there is not something instituting what is, can be, or cannot be, then you cannot have any intelligibility whatsoever. You
That's
wouldn't
not
be,
necessarily true.
it is necessarily true, and I will explain to you why. Okay. Predication is the ability to invoke a statement that has a subject and an object, right? In order to predicate, okay, a statement with a subject and an object, you're going to have to state either what is, can be, or cannot be. But if there is no rhyme or reason why anything is, then you can't predicate.
And I think
Okay.
I think that there's going to be a disagreement
Yeah,
there always.
all you're
I
giving
I
me,
hear what you're saying.
all
I've
you're
heard you say
giving
this to
me,
multiple people.
you're not even giving me defeaters to what I'm saying. All you're doing is you're generalizing, right? In lieu of you giving me a defeater, okay? Unless there is, let me put it this way. If nothing is dictating that anything is impossible, then you won't be able to make coherent, intelligible, positive statements. Okay? Because positive statements require that their negation cannot be. Okay? Do you understand what I just said?
I mean, I don't necessarily follow your train of
Did you
thought.
understand what I just said?
I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand the
Okay,
train of
can you
thought.
repeat back to me what I just said to you?
You're saying that the like thinking, you know, being intelligible, having positive thoughts.
If I said to you, the dog is running in the backyard,
Okay.
okay? Is that an intelligible statement?
I mean, it's an observation. Intelligible, I guess.
Yeah, it means it means something.
Yeah, humans invented language
Okay,
and we communicate. We communicate what we observe. Yeah.
well, humans choose tokens, but you don't know that they invented it as opposed to it was created and ordained by God. Okay.
Well, okay, so we
Now,
invented English. We're speaking English, right?
okay. Now, well, English has to do with the tokens that represent language. Now, we say the dog is running in the backyard. Okay. You agree with me that that's an intelligible statement, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I said to you the dog is running in the backyard, and at the same time and in the same sense the dog is not running in the backyard, would that be intelligible?
Well, let me see. Like, so it's running and not running.
The dog is running and the dog is not running at the same time and in the same sense.
I mean, it doesn't. It seems contradictory.
If there's an are outright contradictions intelligible?
I mean, I don't exactly know your definition of, you know, intellectual.
If I said the dog is running in the backyard and at the same time and in the same sense the dog is not running in the backyard, is that a contradiction?
If you're talking about the same dog in English, yes.
Okay. Is that complete compound statement intelligible?
If you think that hypocrisy is not intelligible, then no.
Okay, we're not talking about hypocrisy.
Well, your contradiction. If you think that a contradiction.
All right,
means
okay. We're gonna move on. Dumb as a bag of rocks. Okay. You try to be patient, and it goes nowhere. Okay. Usually, it's the dumb male atheists that are ignorantly argumentative. This time, we have a female. By the way, did you get that, Tom Rabbit?